There is a remarkable force in the world that often goes unnoticed, quietly shaping ideas, cultures, and progress. It is the brilliance of women whose intelligence is not just measured in degrees or titles, but in the way they think, act, and persist. These women are not simply smart. They are intentionally thoughtful, purpose-driven, and relentless in their pursuit of understanding. The world often notices their achievements, yet it rarely stops to examine the habits, the invisible routines, and the subtle disciplines that fuel their extraordinary minds. Today, I want to explore those habits, not as a checklist, but as a lens into a way of living that transforms knowledge into impact and thought into action. Highly intelligent women cultivate curiosity as a lifestyle. They do not wait for questions to find them. They actively seek out puzzles, contradictions, and gaps in understanding. Every book they read, every conversation they engage in, and every experience they encounter becomes a doorway into learning something new. Curiosity is not mere interest. It is a rigorous, almost insatiable drive to understand the why behind the what. It pushes them to explore perspectives beyond their own, to question assumptions others take for granted, and to embrace complexity rather than shy away from it. They master the art of reflection. In the midst of busy schedules and relentless demands, they carve out time to pause, to analyze, and to process. Reflection allows them to connect the dots between disparate pieces of information, to extract insights from failures, and to turn fleeting moments into lasting lessons. While many are busy reacting, they are busy observing, understanding, and recalibrating. Reflection becomes a habit that feeds foresight, helping them anticipate challenges and see opportunities before they are visible to the majority. Highly intelligent women are deliberate with their energy. They understand that their time and attention are finite, and they choose what deserves both with precision. They are not easily distracted by noise or the lure of immediate gratification. Instead, they invest deeply in what aligns with their purpose and values, whether that is a professional project, a personal goal, or a relationship that inspires growth. They understand that intelligence is not just about thinking well, but about prioritizing well. The courage to say no to what is trivial so they can say yes to what is transformational. They are resilient architects of their own progress. Challenges are inevitable, but they see obstacles as invitations to grow rather than as insurmountable barriers. They cultivate emotional resilience not as a reactionary skill, but as a conscious habit, developing the capacity to stay composed, learn quickly, and adapt fluidly. Setbacks do not define them. Their response to setbacks does. This resilience is built quietly through repetition, reflection, and a steadfast commitment to improvement, even when the external world doubts them or pressures them to conform. They embrace continuous learning as a sacred practice. Intelligence, for them, is never static. It is an evolving muscle that grows through disciplined study, experimentation, and mentorship. They read widely, engage with diverse thinkers, and seek feedback relentlessly. But learning is not just accumulation of knowledge. It is the ability to synthesize, connect, and apply it in ways that create impact. This habit of perpetual learning ensures that they remain ahead of change, nimble in thought, and fearless in the face of complexity. They nurture empathy as a critical component of their intellect. Intelligence is often mistaken for detachment, yet these women understand that understanding people is as crucial as understanding ideas. They listen deeply, consider perspectives outside their own, and use empathy to bridge gaps, influence meaningfully, and lead authentically. Their intelligence is amplified because it is humanized. It connects, inspires, and elevates those around them rather than isolating them in the echo chamber of intellect. They are meticulous in setting intentions. Every action, whether large or small, is guided by clarity of purpose. They do not drift through life reacting to circumstances. They proactively design the life they aspire to live. This habit of intentionality infuses their decisions with focus, their actions with meaning, and their long-term goals with persistence. They know that brilliance alone is not enough without direction, and that even the most powerful ideas can falter without deliberate execution. They practice strategic patience. They recognize that significant achievements are rarely immediate, and they are willing to invest time in processes that compound over years. They resist impulsivity, understanding that temporary discomfort often precedes long-term gain. Strategic patience allows them to endure the waiting, to refine their craft quietly, and to maintain momentum even when results are not yet visible. It is this habit that often separates the fleetingly successful from the profoundly impactful. Finally, they surround themselves with challenges, mentors, and environments that stretch their thinking. They do not settle for comfort or complacency. They actively seek growth in every dimension of their lives. By doing so, they continually expand their mental models, confront blind spots, and cultivate a network that inspires and challenges them. The people, ideas, and experiences they choose to engage with act as accelerators for their intelligence, creating a feedback loop that propels them forward in ways that are deliberate, sustainable, and transformative. The power of intelligence is not merely in the ideas one generates or the knowledge one accumulates, but in the habits that quietly shape the mind, guiding decisions, fueling creativity, and driving impact. Highly intelligent women understand this instinctively. They are not defined solely by their achievements, but by the way they engage with the world, relentlessly curious, deeply reflective, and purposefully intentional. They move through life with a sense of awareness and clarity that allows them to see patterns others miss, to solve problems before they fully manifest, and to turn obstacles into opportunities. Their intelligence is a living, evolving force, nourished by daily practices and subtle disciplines that are often invisible to those around them. They embrace curiosity as a sacred practice, refusing to settle for superficial understanding. Every question becomes a doorway to deeper exploration, every contradiction an invitation to learn. They seek not only answers but understanding, probing the layers beneath the surface to see the connections that others overlook. Curiosity drives them to explore disciplines outside their immediate expertise, to engage in conversations that challenge their assumptions, and to actively pursue knowledge even when it is inconvenient or uncomfortable. This unquenchable thirst for understanding keeps their minds sharp, adaptive, and capable of seeing beyond the obvious. Reflection is another cornerstone of their habits. Amid the chaos and demands of daily life, they create space to pause, to process experiences, and to draw insights from both success and failure. They understand that reflection is not indulgence, it is essential to growth. By revisiting decisions, analyzing outcomes, and questioning assumptions, they gain perspective, deepen understanding, and refine their approach. Through reflection, they transform experience into wisdom, learning to anticipate challenges, identify opportunities, and continuously improve their thinking. Highly intelligent women are intentional with their energy and focus. They recognize that attention is a finite resource, and that the quality of their focus determines the magnitude of their results. They are not easily swayed by distractions or the allure of immediate gratification. Instead, they concentrate on what truly matters: the projects, relationships, and goals aligned with their values and purpose. This discipline allows them to make significant progress consistently, knowing that their intelligence is most powerful when applied with intention rather than scattered across trivial pursuits. Resilience defines how they navigate setbacks. When challenges arise, they do not view them as insurmountable obstacles, but as catalysts for growth and innovation. They cultivate emotional resilience as a habit, learning to regulate their responses, recover from failures quickly, and persist when progress feels slow. They recognize that intelligence is as much about adaptation and endurance as it is about insight, and that true growth emerges from persistence in the face of uncertainty. Their resilience is strategic, grounded in self-awareness and a commitment to long-term impact. They commit to lifelong learning, treating every day as an opportunity to expand knowledge, refine skills, and deepen understanding. Reading widely, engaging with diverse perspectives, and seeking mentors, they cultivate a dynamic, evolving intellect. But learning for them is never passive. It is applied, connected, and purpose-driven. They translate knowledge into insight, insight into action, and action into meaningful outcomes. Their habit of continuous learning ensures that they remain adaptable, relevant, and prepared to lead in a rapidly changing world. Empathy is a subtle yet powerful habit in their lives. They understand that intelligence without understanding others is incomplete. By listening deeply, seeking to understand perspectives beyond their own, and considering the human element in every decision, they amplify their effectiveness. Empathy allows them to connect authentically, influence with integrity, and inspire those around them. Their intelligence is therefore relational as well as analytical, creating impact that is both thoughtful and transformative. Intentionality guides their every action. Every choice, big or small, is informed by a clear sense of purpose. They do not drift aimlessly or react impulsively. They design their lives with precision, aligning their decisions with long-term goals and values. This habit ensures that their energy is not wasted and that their intelligence is directed toward outcomes that matter. By acting with intention, they build momentum, create clarity, and reinforce habits that compound over time, producing results far beyond immediate effort. Strategic patience is another defining habit. They recognize that meaningful achievements rarely come overnight. They are willing to invest time and effort into processes that yield long-term rewards, resisting the temptation of short-term satisfaction. This patience allows them to develop mastery, refine strategies, and cultivate the persistence necessary to achieve transformative outcomes. Through strategic patience, they learn to endure uncertainty, trust in the process, and stay committed to their vision, even when immediate results are not visible. Finally, they intentionally cultivate environments that challenge and inspire them. They surround themselves with ideas, people, and experiences that expand their thinking and stretch their capabilities. They seek feedback, embrace constructive criticism, and actively pursue relationships and networks that foster growth. By curating their environment, they accelerate their own development, consistently raising the bar for what is possible and ensuring that their intelligence is exercised in ways that lead to sustained, meaningful impact. There is an extraordinary kind of intelligence that is not measured by standardized tests or accolades, but by the depth of thinking, the intentionality of action, and the courage to challenge the familiar. Highly intelligent women embody this kind of intelligence every day. They navigate the world with clarity and purpose, yet their brilliance is often quiet, understated, and deeply effective. It is expressed not in a single defining moment, but in countless small habits, repeated with discipline and intention, that accumulate over time to create extraordinary impact. These habits are the invisible architecture of their minds, shaping not only what they achieve, but how they experience life itself. They live with insatiable curiosity. For them, every conversation is a chance to learn, every situation a lesson waiting to be uncovered. They do not accept easy answers or conventional wisdom. They dig deeper, probing beneath the surface to understand the principles, patterns, and complexities that others might overlook. Their questions are deliberate and often uncomfortable, designed not to show off knowledge but to uncover truth. Curiosity drives them to explore new disciplines, cultures, and ideas, building a cognitive flexibility that allows them to connect seemingly unrelated dots and solve problems that others perceive as unsolvable. Reflection is a constant companion in their lives. In the midst of relentless activity, They carve out moments to pause, to think critically, and to consider the consequences of their actions. They study their successes and failures with equal rigor, seeking lessons and insights that refine their approach. Reflection is not indulgent, it is strategic. It allows them to identify patterns in behavior, anticipate challenges before they arise, and adjust their trajectory with foresight. Through reflection, they turn experiences into wisdom, creating a foundation for decisions that are both bold and informed. They are masters of focus and intentionality. Recognizing that attention is one of the most precious resources, they guard it fiercely. They distinguish between what is urgent and what is meaningful, dedicating their energy to pursuits that align with their values and long-term goals. Distractions are not obstacles, they are choices, and highly intelligent women choose deliberately. By prioritizing thoughtfully, they maximize the impact of their efforts, ensuring that their intelligence translates into tangible results, influence, and progress. Resilience is woven into their character. They encounter obstacles like anyone else, yet they respond with composure, persistence, and adaptability. Failures are not endpoints but data points, feedback to be analyzed, learned from, and applied. They cultivate emotional resilience as a habit, strengthening their capacity to endure setbacks without losing momentum or clarity. Their persistence is not blind stubbornness but a calculated commitment to progress, a recognition that true achievement often requires navigating complexity, uncertainty, and temporary discomfort. With unwavering focus, they embrace lifelong learning as a daily ritual. Books, mentors, experiences, and challenges are all opportunities to expand knowledge and sharpen their understanding. They understand that intelligence is dynamic, not static, and that growth requires deliberate effort over time. Learning is not passive accumulation, it is active synthesis and application. By transforming knowledge into action, insight into strategy, and experience into wisdom, they ensure that their minds remain agile, adaptable, and capable of navigating an ever-changing world. Empathy amplifies their intelligence. They understand that knowledge alone is insufficient for meaningful influence. It must be paired with the ability to understand and connect with others. By listening deeply, considering perspectives different from their own, and responding with compassion, they build relationships that are authentic, trust-based, and transformative. Empathy allows them to lead, inspire, and influence effectively, turning intellectual capacity into actionable, human-centered impact that touches lives and drives progress in ways that mere intellect alone cannot achieve. They practice strategic patience, understanding that significant achievements require time, effort, and perseverance. They resist the temptation of instant results, knowing that mastery, innovation, and meaningful contribution compound over years of consistent effort. This patience is not passive waiting, it is active preparation, continuous improvement, and deliberate pacing. By embracing strategic patience, they cultivate depth, resilience, and the foresight necessary to create outcomes that endure, rather than chasing fleeting success or superficial recognition. They curate environments that foster growth, surrounding themselves with people, ideas, and challenges that stretch their thinking. They seek feedback, constructive criticism, and diverse perspectives that push them to expand beyond comfort zones. By intentionally choosing relationships and circumstances that encourage growth, they accelerate their own development and create ecosystems in which their intelligence can thrive. Their environments are not accidental. They are carefully designed to reflect and reinforce the habits, values, and ambitions that define their lives. Finally, they embody a synthesis of all these habits, creating a life in which intelligence is not a solitary trait but a living practice. Curiosity, reflection, focus, resilience, learning, empathy, patience, and intentionality work together as a system, reinforcing one another in ways that create exponential growth. Their intelligence is not simply measured by what they know or accomplish. It is reflected in how they think, act, influence, and grow. In every decision, every interaction, and every challenge, these habits are at work, shaping a path of extraordinary potential and profound impact. The world often underestimates the quiet power of highly intelligent women, assuming that brilliance must announce itself loudly to be noticed. But true intelligence does not demand attention. It cultivates influence through habits, choices, and the way a mind is disciplined over time. Highly intelligent women understand that their greatest strength lies not only in what they know, but in how they think, how they act, and how they persist. Their intelligence is a living force, shaped and reshaped by the daily routines, decisions, and reflections that others may overlook. Yet these are the very things that allow them to create remarkable impact in their lives and the lives of those around them. Curiosity is their compass. They approach life with a relentless desire to understand, question, and explore. Every encounter, every challenge, and every seemingly mundane detail becomes an opportunity to learn something new. They are not satisfied with surface-level understanding. They dig deeper, connecting the dots between ideas, experiences, and disciplines in ways that are innovative and insightful. Curiosity drives them to venture into unfamiliar territory, challenge assumptions, and embrace complexity, creating a mental agility that allows them to navigate uncertainty with confidence. They practice reflection with discipline. Highly intelligent women create moments in their lives to pause and evaluate not just their actions, but the context and reasoning behind them. Reflection allows them to extract lessons from experience, to recognize patterns, and to anticipate outcomes before they arise. It transforms knowledge into wisdom, insight into strategy, and fleeting experiences into long-term understanding. By observing themselves and the world carefully, they gain perspective that allows them to act with foresight rather than react impulsively, turning ordinary decisions into powerful leverage points. For growth, intentionality governs their actions. They know that focus and attention are finite resources, and they allocate them deliberately to what truly matters. They are not distracted by superficial trends, fleeting opinions, or the urgency of trivial matters. Every decision is filtered through the lens of purpose and long-term impact. By prioritizing effectively, they ensure that their intelligence is translated into meaningful results rather than scattered effort. Their deliberate focus allows them to work smarter, achieve more, and maintain alignment between their values, their goals, and their daily actions. Resilience defines their response to adversity. Challenges are inevitable, yet they approach obstacles as opportunities to learn and adapt. Failure is never permanent. It is simply feedback. They cultivate emotional resilience as a habit, allowing them to recover from setbacks, regulate their responses under pressure, and persist with clarity and determination. Their strength is not born from avoiding difficulties, but from engaging them with insight and composure, using each challenge to refine their approach and reinforce their capacity for enduring success. Continuous learning is the engine of their growth. Highly intelligent women are avid readers, diligent learners, and active seekers of knowledge in all its forms. They understand that intelligence is dynamic, not fixed, and that stagnation is the enemy of progress. Learning for them is active and purposeful. They synthesize, apply, and adapt knowledge rather than merely accumulate it. By embracing a mindset of perpetual learning, they stay ahead of change, anticipate opportunities, and develop the skills needed to navigate increasingly complex personal and professional landscapes. Empathy enriches their intelligence, allowing them to connect with people in ways that amplify their influence. They recognize that understanding others is essential to effective problem-solving, leadership, and collaboration. By listening actively, considering perspectives beyond their own, and responding with genuine care, they create trust, inspire cooperation, and foster environments where ideas and innovation can thrive. Their intelligence is thus humanized, grounded not just in knowledge and insight, but in the ability to relate meaningfully to others. Strategic patience is another hallmark of their approach. They understand that meaningful achievements are rarely immediate, and that mastery, innovation, and influence require time, persistence, and deliberate cultivation. They resist the temptation of short-term gratification, investing instead in processes and practices that yield sustainable, long-term results. This patience allows them to refine their strategies, build resilience, and maintain momentum, even when progress is slow or results are not immediately visible. Through patience, they transform effort into compounded impact. They carefully design environments that stimulate growth and challenge their thinking. Highly intelligent women surround themselves with mentors, peers, experiences, and ideas that expand their perspective and elevate their thinking. They seek constructive feedback, diverse viewpoints, and intellectual challenges that push them beyond comfort zones. By intentionally curating their surroundings, they accelerate personal growth and create a network of influences that continuously inspire, challenge, and refine their capabilities. Their environment becomes an extension of their mind, reinforcing habits and fostering sustained progress. Their habits work in harmony, creating a system that amplifies their intelligence across every dimension of life. Curiosity fuels exploration, reflection transforms experience into wisdom, focus ensures purposeful action, resilience sustains them through setbacks, learning drives continuous growth, empathy connects them to others, patience allows time for mastery, and a cultivated environment accelerates progress. Together, these habits produce a life of impact, insight, and influence. Their intelligence is not a solitary trait, it is a practice, an approach, and a mindset that grows stronger with consistency, shaping not just what they achieve, but how they shape the world around them. There is a force in the world that is quiet yet transformative, subtle yet unstoppable, and it manifests in the minds of highly intelligent women. These women do not rely solely on talent, circumstance, or luck. Their power comes from the intentional cultivation of habits that shape how they think, act, and grow. Intelligence is not just something they possess, it is something they practice, refine, and live through consistent choices. The world often notices the outcomes of their brilliance, but it rarely sees the deliberate routines, the careful reflections, and the strategic actions that make their achievements possible. Understanding these habits reveals a blueprint for extraordinary thinking, living, and influencing. Curiosity fuels their every step. Highly intelligent women do not accept surface-level explanations or the conventional wisdom handed to them. They question, explore, and seek to understand the intricate layers beneath every situation. Every experience, encounter, and conversation is an opportunity to learn something new. Curiosity drives them to explore unfamiliar ideas, challenge assumptions, and see patterns others overlook. It pushes them to think beyond immediate boundaries and envision possibilities that remain invisible to most, turning every question into a pathway toward insight and innovation. They cultivate reflection with discipline. In a world of endless noise and distractions, they carve out moments to pause, analyze, and synthesize their experiences. Reflection is not passive rumination, but an active process of extracting lessons, identifying patterns, and planning informed responses. By studying both successes and failures, they transform experiences into strategies and observations into foresight. Reflection becomes the lens through which they view their world, allowing them to act with clarity, precision, and a level of insight that amplifies every decision and interaction. Focus and intentionality guide their daily actions. They recognize that attention is one of the most valuable resources and allocate it purposefully to what truly matters. Distractions, trivial pursuits, and fleeting urgencies are filtered out, while energy is directed toward high impact endeavors that align with their values and goals. They understand that intelligence alone is not enough without purposeful application. By combining mental clarity with deliberate action, they maximize the effect of every thought, decision, and effort, ensuring that their brilliance produces tangible and meaningful results. Resilience is embedded in their character. Setbacks, criticism, and failures are inevitable, yet they respond with composure, adaptability, and unwavering determination. They do not view obstacles as insurmountable. They see them as opportunities to learn, adapt, and grow stronger. Emotional resilience is a practiced habit, cultivated through self-awareness, reflection, and persistent effort. By embracing challenges as feedback rather than defeat, they build the capacity to navigate complexity, recover from adversity, and maintain momentum even in the face of uncertainty. Continuous learning drives their evolution. Highly intelligent women understand that knowledge is dynamic, not static, and that growth requires consistent effort. They read, engage with mentors, explore new disciplines, and seek experiences that stretch their understanding. Learning is never a passive accumulation, but an active process of applying insight, synthesizing information, and adapting strategies. This habit ensures that they remain agile, informed, and capable of thriving in a rapidly changing world, turning each new piece of knowledge into a tool for problem-solving, innovation, and influence. Empathy amplifies their intelligence, allowing them to connect, influence, and inspire effectively. They recognize that understanding others is as critical as understanding ideas. By listening deeply, engaging with diverse perspectives, and responding with authenticity, they foster trust, collaboration, and meaningful impact. Their intelligence is not confined to abstract thought, but is humanized, enabling them to influence not only through logic and insight, but also through understanding, connection, and the ability to inspire collective progress. Strategic patience defines their approach to long-term goals. They understand that mastery, innovation, and meaningful results are rarely immediate. They are willing to invest time, effort, and consistency into processes that yield exponential impact over years. Patience is active, not passive, allowing them to refine strategies, develop mastery, and maintain clarity of vision even when results are not yet visible. By embracing delayed gratification and long-term planning, they create momentum that compounds and ensures that their efforts generate lasting influence and success. They carefully curate environments that accelerate growth and challenge their thinking. Highly intelligent women surround themselves with mentors, peers, ideas, and experiences that stretch their capabilities and expand their perspectives. They actively seek feedback, embrace constructive criticism, and engage with individuals and communities that push them beyond comfort zones. By shaping their environment intentionally, they create conditions that reinforce their habits, stimulate their thinking, and maximize opportunities for growth, ensuring that their intelligence is exercised in ways that are both sustainable and transformative. Their habits operate as an interconnected system, producing results far greater than the sum of their parts. Curiosity fuels exploration, reflection transforms experiences into wisdom, focus directs action with purpose, resilience sustains progress through challenges, continuous learning ensures adaptability, empathy humanizes intelligence, patience allows for mastery, and a cultivated environment accelerates growth. Together, these habits create a life in which intelligence is not a static trait but a living practice, guiding thought, behavior, and impact in ways that leave an enduring mark on the world. There is a unique power in the minds of highly intelligent women, a force that quietly transforms ideas into impact, curiosity into innovation, and reflection into action. Their intelligence is not measured by accolades, social approval, or outward recognition. It is measured by the way they engage with the world, the habits they cultivate, and the discipline they apply to thinking, learning, and growing. They understand that brilliance is not a static trait, but a living practice, built each day through deliberate choices, mindful attention, and a relentless pursuit of understanding. The habits they embody are invisible to the casual observer, yet they are the engine behind the influence, insight, and progress that define their lives. Curiosity is the lifeblood of their minds. They are insatiably interested in understanding the world, probing beneath the surface of every idea, question, and assumption. Every interaction, observation, and challenge becomes an opportunity to uncover patterns, explore new perspectives, and expand their understanding. They do not settle for what is obvious or easy. Instead, they seek the hidden truths that others often overlook. This habitual curiosity drives them to constantly learn, adapt, and innovate, making their thinking dynamic, flexible, and deeply perceptive. Reflection is their compass in navigating complexity. Highly intelligent women routinely pause to consider their experiences, decisions, and the lessons embedded within them. They transform moments of success and failure alike into insight, asking not only what happened, but why it happened and how they can grow from it. Reflection is not idle rumination, but an active, structured practice that deepens understanding, strengthens foresight, and guides strategic action. By cultivating reflection as a habit, they turn everyday experiences into a reservoir of wisdom that informs every subsequent choice. They practice intentionality with unwavering focus. Their attention is a finite resource, and they protect it fiercely, channeling it toward pursuits that align with their values, goals, and long-term vision. They resist the noise of distraction, the pull of fleeting trends, and the pressure to react impulsively. Every decision, action, and commitment is filtered through a lens of purpose, ensuring that energy is spent on what truly matters. Their intelligence is amplified because it is consistently applied, directed toward outcomes that are both meaningful and transformative. Resilience is woven into their character. Challenges, setbacks, and criticism do not deter them, they refine them. They view obstacles as feedback, opportunities to adapt, and catalysts for growth. Emotional resilience is not an incidental quality. It is a habit cultivated through repeated practice, reflection, and intentional mindset. They navigate adversity with composure and adaptability, turning pressure into clarity, uncertainty into strategy, and failure into a stepping stone for progress. Their persistence is not stubbornness but a disciplined commitment to long-term impact. Lifelong learning is a cornerstone of their growth. Highly intelligent women understand that knowledge is ever-evolving and growth requires constant effort. They read, explore, seek mentorship, and embrace experiences that stretch their understanding. Learning is not passive accumulation. It is active application, synthesis, and adaptation. Each new insight becomes a tool to refine thinking, solve problems, and create meaningful influence. By committing to continuous learning, they remain adaptable, prepared, and capable of thriving in complex, rapidly changing environments. Empathy deepens the power of their intelligence. They understand that knowledge alone is insufficient without connection. Insight without compassion is hollow. By listening, observing, and understanding the perspectives of others, they amplify their effectiveness and foster authentic influence. Empathy allows them to bridge gaps, inspire collaboration, and create environments where people feel understood, valued, and motivated. Their intelligence is relational as well as analytical, translating into influence that is both profound and human-centered. Strategic patience guides their long-term vision. They recognize that meaningful achievements are rarely instant and that mastery, innovation, and sustainable success require time, consistency, and careful cultivation. They resist the allure of short-term gratification, choosing instead to invest in processes that compound over years. Patience is an active habit, one that allows them to refine strategies, endure challenges, and maintain focus on long-term objectives. This ability to delay immediate reward in favor of substantial, lasting impact is a hallmark of their disciplined intelligence. They curate environments that amplify growth and challenge their thinking. Highly intelligent women surround themselves with mentors, peers, ideas, and experiences that stretch their perspective and inspire progress. They actively seek feedback, embrace constructive criticism, and engage with networks that push them beyond comfort zones. By intentionally shaping their environment, they create conditions that reinforce their habits, stimulate creativity, and accelerate learning. Their surroundings become an extension of their intellect, providing the support, challenge, and stimulation necessary for continuous growth and innovation. Their habits work in harmony, creating a system that magnifies their intelligence and influence. Curiosity fuels exploration, reflection transforms experience into insight, focus ensures purposeful action, resilience sustains them through adversity, learning expands capability, empathy strengthens connection, patience allows for mastery, and curated environments accelerate growth. Together, these practices form a coherent, deliberate framework through which they navigate life, amplify their potential, and shape the world. Their intelligence is not merely a gift. It is a practice, a way of living that produces profound, lasting, and transformative impact.